Boy, well, Sean Hannity is at it again. I thought I'd actually do a video response to an interesting discussion between he and two religious leaders and an atheist. Marco Rubio, according to the Hannity show, stated that we are kind of on this cusp of Christianity being attacked because of the whole gay marriage events and the fact that we have so many different states going and allowing gay marriage. And this follows a common Christian theme that gay marriage is wrong, that it somehow is a threat to their religious ideology and their beliefs. And on Sean Hannity's show, which I'll link to in the comments below on this video, the argument that the atheist is trying to make is completely ignored and kind of overlooked and overrun by Hannity, and that's common with his show. He doesn't like to listen to people that have oppositional arguments and ideas. Most of the time, the atheist or the non-religious, the person he doesn't agree with, is just a token guest on his show. So that shouldn't be surprising. But what is really overlooked and very surprising in regards to the understanding of what's happening here is the argument that it's bigotry and oppressive to Christians that we have gay marriage and religious freedom for people who aren't Christian in the United States. The U.S. Constitution was written, and the First Amendment was created with the purpose of making sure everyone has freedom of religion, or no religion for that matter, if they choose not to believe in anything in that sense. The very purpose behind our constitutional amendments, the First Amendments, and then those that are created afterwards, is to protect the rights of individuals in the United States. And one of those rights is the right to marry. Now, here's the first problem with the Christian argument that is presented in Hannity and many other sources, and that is the idea of traditional marriage. Traditional marriage is not real. It does not exist. There is no true traditional marriage. Marriage as a social concept is very loose. Throughout humanity's history, throughout our history, marriage has ranged from many different types, including gay marriage in the Christian church, no less, up until the Church Reformation with Luther. The fact is that traditional marriage includes polygamy, one wife, multiple husbands, one husband, multiple wives, arranged marriages, marriages between adults and children, and so on and so forth. That's a huge plethora of marriages and this huge rainbow, if you will, this huge spectrum of marriages that are traditional. Each culture has its own rules and guidelines and terms for marriage, but they nonetheless span a huge range. And in the United States, we even have a range of marriages that existed. And the thing is that the whole idea of a traditional man and wife marriage, a man and woman, husband and wife marriage, is purely fiction. In fact, we've had different marriage types, transgressive marriage types that include multiple husbands and multiple wives together in the United States, and did so up until we standardized marriage for the purposes of taxation. In fact, the entire concept of marriage in the United States from a legal perspective is about taxation and the ability to jointly file, account household income together so that you don't have to pay as much in taxes as you would as to individuals, ownership of property and so forth. That's what marriage is in the United States from a legal standpoint. It has nothing to do with religion. So, is in fact the arguments being made today against Christianity, including the right for gay marriage to happen, really an attack on Christianity or bigotry, as the atheist in the video I linked to on Hannity says. The truth is that Christianity is, in fact, a very bigoted religion. And I'm not saying the teachings of the religion are necessarily bigoted, because when observed through an enlightened eye, Christianity does teach some very strong morals that are valid today. Morals that are, can be life-changing for people and help people with different problems and processes and stuff like that. The issue isn't necessarily the teachings of Christianity as a organized religion, but how people within the religion utilize those teachings to justify actions that aren't very Christian. This includes hate speech, bigotry, racism, and a long laundry list and history of puerile hate generated by the religious followings of these different groups and within Christianity in the United States and around the world. Is there persecution in the United States? Well, no. In fact, I would argue that Christianity and Christians are persecuting minorities, not the other way around. The United States, in our last census, according to the United States Census Bureau, has around 70% or so of our population recognizing and identifying as being Christian. Does that mean that they are all going to church? No. Does it mean that they're all, staunch Christians who have an absolute biblical belief? No. But a huge majority of our population is in fact Christian. And a small subset of that group believe that they're being persecuted because they're no longer allowed to be bigots and racist and prejudiced against people from a legal standpoint. Does the passing of gay marriage mean that churches and priests and pastors and the Christian faith will have to marry people that are gay? No. In fact, it's been made quite clearly that gay marriage is strictly from the perspective and the representation and position of the government. The government is recognizing gay marriage. That means that the government will recognize a marriage license for 2 gay people. That's it, for the purposes of taxation, no less. It is the choices of the people who are getting married to try to get married within a religious setting or a church, or be married by a pastor, where they want to get married, how they want to get married. That's their choice. If they want to do it within a religious confines, hey, that's their choice. Do religious pastors have to do that? Do Christian pastors have to do it, or do deists, the Hebrew rabbis have to do it? No. Do the Buddhist priests have to do it? No. They can choose not to. That is their right. They do not have to marry. They can choose not to marry someone because they're gay. And no one's going to go after them for doing so. I think that there's a fear that exists that gay couples who are refused to be married by Christian pastors or rabbis or Buddhist priests or whatever will go after them and sue them. And this is stemming from other companies, secular companies, like cake companies and flower shops and stuff like that are refusing service based on homosexuality. And there is a big difference between a church, which has very defined religious parameters, and a secular business that does not. Unless the secular business, is, Christian cakes are us, and they exclusively say this is a Christian business and we only cater to Christians, and that's it, which would bring up many other issues. But unless they have a very staunch religious statement that is clear as day, then they really have no claim to discriminate against gay couples or any other person for that matter. And this really comes down to the fact that you can't really necessarily tell if someone is gay unless they tell you that they are gay. Just because a person might act within the stereotypical ideology of what gay is does not mean that they're gay. Just because a person may act straight does not mean that they are straight. The outward appearance of a person cannot really tell you necessarily that that person is a certain way. And so that gets into discrimination laws. That goes back to changes to how we have our constitutional amendment so that we can't discriminate against blacks or other minority groups or women because they are a woman or because they are black. These are things outside of their control. Same thing is true of homosexuality. Homosexuality is innate. You're born gay. Is there an argument and there's a debate within the scientific community about what exactly causes homosexuality? Yes. Do not get me wrong, there is that debate. But it is still clear that it's an innate feature. It is something that is inborn. That means that it is from the start. It's from the get-go. It's something that a person can't control. You can't change being gay. You can't change being transgender. You can't change your heterosexuality. You can't be, stop being straight. It doesn't work that way. Sexual flexibility is also another area I won't get into in this video, but the point here is that, simply put, where secular businesses and religious groups, churches and temples, that there is a very, very strict divide between them, a very defined division between them. And we can't allow that division to be blurred in this case. And does it come down to bigotry? Again, yes, it does. It comes down to bigotry. We have many different Christian groups that exist in the United States today. Many. And I'm not talking necessarily mainstream groups, but even kind of backwater hidden groups that are truly, truly bigoted. They don't want others that aren't like them to have rights, to have freedom, to have privileges. They want the United States to represent them and only them. And that is also true of the two Christians that are representative in this Hannity video that I'm going to link to. They think, and they may not openly say it here, but they think that their religion is the only religion. They think that their religious beliefs should be the only beliefs that people hold. This is wrong. This is a violation of our First Amendment rights. And if it were up to them, they would have laws passed that nobody could be anything other than Christian. If you notice in this video, Hannity asks the atheist, do you believe in freedom of religion and the freedom of practice therein? And he goes, yes, and this isn't about religion, this is about bigotry. And then he gets cut off. Did he ask that question of the other two guests? No. And do you want to know why? It's because he knows they're going to answer no. They're at least going to lie through their teeth. And it'll be very clear that they're going to lie through their teeth because they don't want other religions to be here. They are staunch Christians, they're right-wing Christians, and that's how they think. I'm going to end this and conclude my video and my response to this travesty of an interview by Hannity by saying that Hannity, he is probably one of the worst, absolute worst talk show hosts I've ever seen. What kind of person, what kind of talk show host actually interrupts his guests when the guest is trying to answer the question? Only a host that doesn't want to actually hear the answer to the question. It is very clear, and this is again why Fox News is a terrible, terrible news source, is that they have a message that they want to get across, and it's their message of hatred and bigotry, and they don't want anything to contravene that hatred and bigotry. They want their viewership to grasp on and latch on and never let go of this kind of belief that Christians are being persecuted. Christians are being persecuted. Christians need to be protected in the United States. Well, they don't. Christians have so many protections, it's not funny. It's the people who aren't Christians, the minority in this country, the 30% that aren't identified as Christians in any nominal way, that need to be protected. Because it's those same people that are more likely to be hated against, to be, have bigotry put against them, to be have any type of prejudice be put against them. It's these groups of people that need the law to represent them, along with the majority. And that's something that the Christians in this Hannity interview don't get, what Hannity doesn't get, and what the atheist tries to get to, and tries to explain, but is never given the chance to do so. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a good night.